Welcome back to Biblical Greek Tidbits. In this presentation, we will take a brief look at the use in the Greek New Testament of the particle the. This particle occurs only 5 times in the Greek New Testament. Matthew 13 verse 23, Luke 2 verse 15, Acts 13 verse 2, Acts 15 verse 36, and 1 Corinthians 6 verse 20. What struck me most about the use of the in the Greek New Testament was its infrequent use by several authors. It is used by Matthew, 1 occurrence, Luke, 3 occurrences, and Paul, 1 occurrence. Of course, according to Deniston and others, the frequency of use of particles in the Greek New Testament, and indeed in Koine Greek, is far less than in Classical Greek. It also struck me that, except at Hebrews 2:16, the is not used in combination with other particles in the Greek New Testament. It is possible that the is another form of the, which occurs by itself and in combined form over 2,700 times in the Greek New Testament. But scholars differ on this. If it is true that the is derived from the, that would explain the sparse use of the in the Greek New Testament and its lack of combination with other particles. Before delving into these 5 occurrences, we take a look at the references used in developing this presentation. Here's a list of references used for this presentation. If you want to take a closer look, please pause the video. We now look at a definition and some glosses from BDAG, along with a historical comment from reference 2. From BDAG, definition 1, a marker denoting that a statement is definitely established. Indeed. Glosses from BDAG, now, then, therefore, with exhortations or commands to give them greater urgency. From reference 2, the derivation of the, of which widely divergent views have been held, remains entirely obscure. It has often been held that the primary sense of the is temporal. Thus, Brugman says that the particle combines a temporal sense with that of obviousness, notoriousness, actuality, certainty, the temporal element being stronger in Homer than in later Greek. Hence, the denotes that which lies clear to see before the speaker's eyes at the moment. The evidence for this supposed temporal sense is, however, exceedingly weak, and I doubt whether any such view would have gained currency without the support of precarious etymologies. The essential meaning seems clearly to be verily, actually, indeed. You may want to consider watching a previous video in this series, Biblical Greek Tidbits video number 33. Although that video concentrates on the specific combination teke in the Greek New Testament, I do make some general remarks about Greek particles there. The current presentation may duplicate some of the information contained in video number 33. There's a full discussion of the particle the in reference 4, page 1149. I highly recommend reading this discussion. Robertson puts 4 of the 5 uses of the in the Greek New Testament as either hortatory subjunctive, Luke 2:15 and Acts 15:36, or imperatival, Acts 3:2 and 1 Corinthians 6:20. The remaining verse, Matthew 13:23, is used in a relative sense. We now look at the various uses of the in the Greek New Testament. In Matthew 13:23, ade epi tin kalin yin sparis utos estin atan lagan akuon ke siniis, as di kapophori ke pi amen ekaton a the exikanda a the triakanda. Translation: and the one on whom seed was sown on the good soil, this is the man who hears the word and understands it, who indeed bears fruit and brings forth some 100-fold, some 60, and some 30. The KJV translates this particle as also, but most modern translations translate as indeed. Luke 2:15. Ke ayenata os apilthon apavton iston uranon e angeli e pimenes elalun pros alilus the elthamin the eos vithleem ke idamin taurima tuta ta yeganas akirias ignorison imin. Translation: when the angels had gone away from them into heaven, the shepherds began saying to one another, let us go straight to Bethlehem then, and see this thing that has happened which the Lord has made known to us. There's a variety of words used in the English in the translations for this particle. The KJV translates this particle as now, even. Let us now go even to Bethlehem. The NASB translates as then. The ESV does not translate this particle at all. Young's literal translation translates as indeed, like the NASB. The NRSV translates as now. This is a hortatory subjunctive use of the particle the. The third occurrence of the in the Greek New Testament comes from Acts 13:2. Liturgundon the afton to kyrio ke nistevandon ipenta pneumata aion aphorisate the me tan varnavan ke savlan istan ergon a proskeklime aftus. Translation: while they were ministering to the Lord and fasting, the Holy Spirit said, set apart from me Barnabas and Saul for the work to which I have called them. Most translations, including the KJV, do not translate this particle in this verse. This is an imperatival use of the particle the. The fourth occurrence is from Acts 15, verse 36. Meta the tinas imeras ipin pros Barnaban Pavlos epistrepsendes the episkepsomatha tous adelphus kata palin pasan en is katingilamen tan lagan to kiriu pos ekusin. Translation: after some days Paul said to Barnabas, let us return and visit the brethren in every city in which we proclaim the word of the Lord, and see how they are. Here also most translations, including the KJV, do not translate this particle. This is a hortatory subjunctive use of the particle the. The fifth occurrence of the particle the in the Greek New Testament comes from 1 Corinthians 6, verse 20. Igorasthite gartimis doxasate din tan theon endo somati imon. Translation: for you have been bought with a price, therefore glorify God in your body. The NASB translates the particle as therefore. Young's literal translation translates as so. The ESV also translates as so. The KJV and the NRSV, like the NASB, translate the particle as therefore. We see that most translations are very similar. This is another imperatival use of the particle the. We have seen in this presentation that most translations follow the BDAG definitions when translating the particle the, or they leave the particle untranslated. As with other particles, at times the Greek particle the is untranslatable precisely into English. Again, I recommend that the viewer watch video number 33 in this series, Biblical Greek Tidbits, to get a better understanding of Greek particles. Although that video specifically deals with the particle combination teke, I also make some general comments about the Greek particles there. Thank you for watching this presentation. As usual, I defer to real scholars on all matters of biblical Greek.